So in this sequence, we're going to deal a little bit with what core really is. There's a little bit of a misnomer with what core is in other athletic practices or other gym-type events. And in yoga, it's quite a different thing. And it's about how to hold your spine really stable. And that doesn't actually come from pulling your belly in quite the way that you think. So we're going to start with Jenny and with Janice. Janice, my longtime companion. Right, we're going to start in child's pose today, and you need 2 blocks to take care of this sequence. So just 2. If you have foam ones, it's way better than wood. The wood ones are really hard to hold. I'll just warn you in advance. All right, so come to child's pose. Big toes together and separate your knees, and then you can just take your arms back alongside of you, unless that's not comfortable. If you prefer them out in front of you, that's fine as well. And then start with getting still and with paying attention to your body right now in this moment. So there's a desire when you get on your mat, at least for me, to have every single practice go exactly the way that I want it to. And that's not the case a lot of the time. And I found it's much easier if I just pay attention to what is actually happening right now. Frankly, that's what you're trying to learn through this practice. So notice if you have a sense of fatigue or if you have a lot of energy and it's frenetic. Notice if you have injuries, and then pay attention to all of those things, and you'll make decisions throughout the class based on that, so you leave feeling more focused and clear and better. Sometimes that means not doing what you think. And then start to breathe more deeply, in and out through your nose. And there's no rush to get your breath really long. Over time, lengthen the 2 parts of your breath out so that they mirror each other. And then anytime you need breaks, you can take breaks. You can always come right back to this place if you need. All right. So reach your arms out in front of you now and push yourself up to all 4s. Okay, once you're on all 4s, take one of your blocks and you're going to put it between your inner thighs. Okay, so the higher you put it up between your inner thighs, the easier it is to hold on to it long term. And then have it the skinniest way so that your thighs are parallel to one another, hip distance apart. Okay. And then just hug into the block for a moment with your legs. And then pay attention to your spine. And I want you to let your abdomen go completely slack. Do absolutely no work in terrible alignment, which I never usually ask for. And you'll feel your lower back will sway. And for some of you, it'll sway a lot, like Janice's. Hers sways a lot. And for some of you, a little bit less, like Jenny's. And now take a breath in, and as you exhale, I want you to contract the front of your abdomen, what you think is probably core, and let your spine really round up to the ceiling. Right? So pull your whole abdomen taut, the front of it, and you'll feel the more you do that, the more rounded your lower back gets. Right? So that's really all that part of your core that's visible when you're thinking about core on the beach in your bathing suit. That's really all that part of your body does, is round your back. So now come back to a nice neutral flat spine, and then let your abdomen go completely slack again. Let it sink down. Now start to work from it, or at it, from a more stability-based place. So start to hug your inner thighs into the block. So squeeze the top inch of your inner thighs together. And then hold on to that and squeeze your glutes, or think about engaging the muscles of your tush. And you'll feel already, and you can see in Janice, already her lower back has come to a little bit more of a neutral place. Now find the lower part of your belly that starts just below your navel, and start to pull that towards the crown of your head until it feels like your lower back is really long and even. Right? And then leave that alone. Push the floor down with your hands and firm your outer arms in. Right? And then keep hold of your block and straighten one leg and the other into plank pose from here. Good. And then once you're in plank, put some work into your legs. Push back through your heels. Keep your shoulders over your wrists. Firm your inner thighs into the block. Continue with that idea of squeezing your tush a little bit without letting it turn your legs one way or the other. And now in plank, you do need a little bit more core work. So first pull from the base of your tailbone up towards your navel, and then that towards the crown of your head, without letting your spine round, feeling like it's in that long, even line now. These look very good. Nice job, ladies. Now pull your shoulders back away from your ears so the top inch of your chest widens out, and it'll make it really easy to look forward. And then take a breath in and let your shoulders pass your wrists an inch or two, but keep them away from your ears. And as you exhale, elbows in, start to bend a little bit towards chaturanga. Do 1 inch at a time, knowing the rest of the alignment in the pose is way more important than whether your elbows bend. Good. Inhale in one line, pull your belly in and push up into plank. And now exhale, push up and back into downward facing dog. I always love when I'm teaching something that I know is hard and my legs and arms start to work as well. So I hope that makes you feel better. I'm sure it doesn't. Right, so once you're in down dog, put a little bit of a bend into your knees so that your hamstrings aren't involved in this. Lift your heels up away from the floor as well so that your legs, the backs of them, don't feel like they're working at all. Okay, now push your hands down into the mat. Hold an even weight. And then roll your outer arms down to the floor. So you feel the back of your neck spread wide towards your outer shoulders. And then firm your outer arms in so you're keeping your elbows straight. And now notice the shape of your spine. It still should be in one long line. You're really just folding at your hips. So upper back, right between where your shoulder blades are, just under the base of your neck. Push that in towards the front of your chest. And then notice your lower back. Is it arching? If it's arching, drop your tailbone a little bit. If it feels like it's rounding, lift your sit bones up until your lower back feels long and almost flat, frankly. And now add your legs. Squeeze your legs into the block and look at where your knees and heels are positioned. Put your kneecaps and heels in line with your second toe on both legs. And then leave them there. Hug your inner thighs in and add that little work of your outer hips or your glutes without rotating your legs at all. And now start to push your legs straighter without it affecting the shape of your spine. And if you need to keep your knees bent to do that, then keep your knees a little bent. There. Good. All right, now work from your legs again. And inhale, glide yourself forward into plank pose. Find the work of your hips, your inner thighs, the lower belly. Shift forward. Exhale, inch by inch to chaturanga. And as you lower, just pay attention to your spine. Then you'll have to do more belly work. Inhale, push up into plank so you stay in that line. Exhale, press up and back into downward facing dog. Then one more time on your breath. Inhale, glide on forward into plank. Exhale, slowly, inch by inch, chaturanga. Good. Inhale, straight back up. Very nice. Exhale, push yourself up and back. Walk your hands all the way back until they meet your feet. And then bend your knees enough to get the front of your belly to touch your block. If your block is in the way, move it back a little bit so you can get the front of your pelvis, your belly touching your legs. And then grab your elbows there. So Jenny, bend your knees more. Good. Okay, so relax your neck. And then look at your heels, the center of your kneecaps. Line them up with your second toe if they've turned any which way. And then leave them there. Leave the generous bend in your knees that you really don't want to do. Good. And firm your inner thighs into the block. Firm your outer hips into the block. And as you hang here, see if you can straighten your knees maybe a millimeter more without the rest of the pose changing shape. Find that little work of just the lower part of your belly that doesn't change the shape of your spine, it just supports it really well. Good. And then release your hands down to the floor. Inhale, stretch your sternum away from your hips so your front body lengthens all the way out. And then bring your hands up as high onto your shins as you need to do that. Now straighten your knees all the way out. If you need to come up a little higher to widen your chest, come up a little higher. Good. Exhale, bring your hands to your hips. And now contract your whole belly and inhale, come up to standing so you have a lot of support. And then walk all the way up to the front of your mat. You can get rid of the block, Jenny. Waddle up to the front of your mat. All right. And then get the block off to the side and bring your arms down to your sides. Okay. And then look down at your feet. I know it seems tedious a lot of the time, but it's really important to set your foundation up really well, to pay attention to your alignment. So have the base of your big toes touching. And then look at the center of your heel. And it's right in between the two bony projections out the sides of your ankles. Separate your heels any amount that lines up the center of your heel with your second toe, just like you were doing in all the other postures. Okay? And then you can look forward again. And now, even though the block isn't there, it'll come back a little bit later. Firm your outer hips in, your inner thighs together as if the block was still there. Find that lower belly support that doesn't round your back, but it lifts the front of your pelvis up. Widen your chest as much as your upper back. And then hold that shape in your spine. Keep your attention there. And on an inhale, reach your arms out to the side and take them up alongside your ears. Okay, pause when they're up there, shoulder distance apart. Okay, still work from your legs. Roll your outer arms forward and then reach them up from the sides of your waist. And as they grow a little bit higher, start to continue that wrapping action. Good. Now if you can get just the top inch of your chest to lift a little higher without the rest of your spine changing, do that and start to look up. Good. If it's easy to drop your head back, let it drop back. And then know that this rotation in your arms, your elbows being straight, is way more important for now than your palms coming together. So slowly work your palms towards one another. If they touch, fine. If you have to bend your elbows, leave them as they are. Good. And then exhale, fold forward all the way down. And on the way down, stretch your chest forward. Hug your legs together like you've been working, hands down. Inhale, stretch your chest forward. Widen it, shoulders back, and then exhale, plant your palms and step into that really nice plank that you've now done great alignment setting up. Take a big breath in, shift forward, exhale, lower slow, chaturanga. Flip your toes, inhale, upward facing dog, still working from your legs the same way. Exhale, push up and over, downward facing dog. Good. And as you come into this down dog, you're working your arms, and for a long time, it'll feel like your arms are doing, I know for me, it was like 90% of the pose. But as you're there, work from your legs, and eventually it feels like half of your body, the lower half is doing 50%, the upper half is doing the other 50%. And then look forward, lift your heels, stretch your chest forward, step or hop your feet all the way up to your hands. Find the work in your legs. Inhale, stretch your chest forward. Exhale, fold. Inhale, come all the way up. Outer hips hug, inner thighs, that little lower belly. Exhale, arms down to your sides, or you can take your hands to your heart, doesn't matter. And then inhale, on the breath this time, reach your arms up. Exhale, hinge and fold yourself forward. Inhale, chest wide, look up. Exhale, plant your palms. You can step back, or if you're going to hop, hop and bend your elbows in the air. Inhale to the back bend, chest up to your chin. Good. Exhale, fold from your hips, long spine, and start to really work from your legs. Good. And then find a steadiness in the pose. Try to hold still. There's little tiny engagements that you're doing with your muscles, adjustments that you're finding, but for the most part, it's still. Find your breath. Add that to what you're thinking about in alignment. Let that occupy your mind so there's a lot less clutter. There's just a couple things you're thinking about. And then look forward, put a bend in your knees, step or hop your feet to the front again. And inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, chest wide. Exhale, fold all the way back down. Inhale, bring yourself all the way up. Wrap your outer arms to the front of your mat as they rise. And then exhale, join your hands together. One more time. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, stretch forward, look up. Exhale, step or lightly hop, chaturanga. Nice, Janice. Inhale, upward facing dog. Whole hand, anchor it to your mat. Exhale, fold from your hips, down dog. Good. And then again, imagine the block was between your legs. Find that inner thigh and outer hip combination that doesn't rotate your legs, but that holds your thigh bones in the sockets, which allows you to find this work of your lower belly that'll support your lower back. And then look forward, bend your knees, step or hop your feet to the front again. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, bring yourself all the way up. And exhale, arms down to your sides. All right, block time. I said it was coming back. So grab your block, separate your feet hip distance, and put the block between your upper and inner thighs again. Okay. And then just bring your hands to your side hips. So rather than your waist, put them on the sides of your hips where your thigh bones are meeting your pelvis. Okay. And then look down at your block. So Jen, you might have to move yours a little forward just to be able to see it. Okay. So heels, second toe, kneecaps in one line. And now look down at your block. And without firming your inner thighs, just engage your glutes. So squeeze your tush. And I want you to watch the block. It'll move forward. Your inner thighs are going to roll to the front of your mat. Okay? Now relax your tush. firm your inner thighs in and roll them back towards the back of your mat. And you'll feel your block move back and your lower back start to do this huge arch. Okay, so now let go of that and find a neutral place. So your hands are on the sides of your hips. It should feel like the front part is upright. Okay, now engage those two things together. Inner thighs, hug them in. Glutes, hug them in as well without letting them turn your legs. And now find your lower belly and zip it up just a little bit. Okay? Shift into your heels, take a breath in, and then as you exhale, start to sit back towards chair pose in your lower body. Good. Okay, now you can just put your hands on your hips as if you were doing a normal stand and waiting for the bus stance. Okay? Knees, keep them facing dead ahead. Firm your inner upper thighs in, squeeze your tush, draw your lower belly up to the crown of your head. Now reach your arms out to the side, turn your palms up to the ceiling, and reach them up alongside your ears. Sorry, I just smack you around. So roll your outer arms forward again, and then reach up. Like your fingertips start all the way down at the sides of your waist. Stretch them up, 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 up. Good. If you can lift that top inch or two of your chest up a little more, making it really easy to tip your head back, do. If not, look forward, and then hands as close as they'll go again. Nice, you two. Exhale. Push up to standing. Let your arms come down to the sides. Throw the block at the TV or at your iPad. Move it off to the side. Okay, and then bring your feet all the way together again like we were doing. So you can always stay with feet hip distance if you prefer that, but otherwise feet together. And now on one breath, that same alignment. So inhale, bend your knees, drop your hips, and reach your arms up for chair pose. Work from your legs and your hips. Good. Exhale, fold forward first. Once you're folded, straighten your legs out. Inhale, pull your chest forward. And then exhale, take yourself through a vinyasa, slowly on your breath, back into down dog. So you can skip the vinyasas if you don't need them. But the more you work from your legs and that little lower belly, the less it'll be in your arms and shoulders. Right? From here, step your right foot up between your hands. Move it off to the right so you're hip distance apart. And then inhale, bring yourself up into crescent pose. Okay, once you're up in crescent pose, bring your hands down to your hips. That same thing you were just doing at the front of your mat, you can do here. So bend your back knee a really good amount. Okay? Look at your right kneecap. Make sure it's facing dead ahead over your toes. And now leave it there. Squeeze your inner upper thighs together. Engage your glutes. And you'll feel the front part of your pelvis uprights itself just a little bit from that on its own. Then the lower belly, below your navel. Pull that up to the crown of your head. And now reach your arms out to the side, turn your palms up to the ceiling, and take them alongside your ears. Good. So now from your fingertips through the sides of your hips, you're in this really long straight line. Hold the shape of your spine. It's way more important today. Frankly, it's always more important. And start to consider if you can straighten your back leg a little bit more without it changing the rest of the pose. Good. Maybe chest up more if you've been doing that. Work your palms a little closer together. Good. And then exhale, bring your hands to prayer in front of your heart. Now keep the front of your chest and your upper back evenly wide. Lean your torso halfway forward and get your back leg completely straight. Okay, start to think about your lower body as if it was plank. So back heel pushing back, that same inner thigh, outer hip, I'm going to say it 1,000,000 times. Belly, so you're not resting on your right thigh. Chest wide. Now start to initiate the twist from your upper back. Put your left hand down on the floor under your shoulder and reach your right arm straight up to the ceiling. Good. So keep your left shoulder back away from your ear. Turn your top palm to the front of the mat and reach your top arm up and over alongside your right ear. Good. Keep firming back thigh up. Up, 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 up. Good. Squeeze your outer hips and inner thighs together. Lengthen your lower ribs up to your chin, up to the crown of your head, and then turn from your upper back. Good, Janice. Good, and then take your right hand down, step back into plank, work your legs again, breathe in, exhale, chaturanga. Inhale into up dog. And exhale, roll up and back, downward facing. Okay, side two, step your left foot forward, feet hip distance, and then inhale, come on up into crescent pose. Okay, and then once you're up, bring your hands to your side hips. Okay. Bend your back knee a really good amount. That back heel, make sure it's right over your second toe, so it might mean spinning your inner thigh back. Left knee faces dead ahead. Don't let that change. Outer hips, inner upper thighs, and that little zipping up, lower belly. Good. Now hold that, arms out. Roll your palms up, reach them up alongside your ears. Good. And then hold that work. Start to put your attention in what you're doing in your spine, the shape of it. It stays as is. If your back leg will straighten more without your pelvis dropping forward, go. Okay. Top inch, chest. Think lifting it up, like you're trying to lift the sides of your ribs up away from your pelvis enough to make it easy to look up. Hands a little closer, maybe. Good. And then look forward, bring your hands to your heart. Okay. Lean halfway forward. Firm your back leg completely straight. Good. Squeeze the inner thighs, outer hips, and already you see your belly is coming forward. Pull it up to the crown of your head. That's it. Now hold that shape and start to twist. Right hand down. Once your right hand is down, upper back square you revolve, top arm up. And then turn from your shoulder, top palm to the front of your mat. And then as the arm comes up and over, keep rotating. Outer arm to the side, outer arm to the side. Good. Find your back heel, push back through it. Evenly pulling the sides of your rib cage as far away from the sides of your hips as you can get. Nice, Janice. And then take your top hand down to the mat, step back into plank, and go on through a vinyasa to down dog. Good. All right. So from down dog, step your right foot forward, spin your back heel down, and this time line up heel to heel. Inhale, bring yourself up into the stance for warrior one. And then like you were doing before, bring your hands down to your side hips so they're not a factor quite yet. Okay, so once you've come into the pose, I know it's very tempting to bend your front knee all the way to 90. Come out of some of that bend so that you can first anchor your back foot and straighten your back knee. Okay, and then inner back thigh, a little bit of rolling back, kind of like what you were doing with the block at the front of your mat, just so that you're finding as much of a neutral position there as you can. Okay, and then firm right under your hands, side hips, inner upper thighs, upright the front of your pelvis. I'll do it for you. And now square your chest off to the front of your mat. Now reach your arms out to the side. Find the rotation first, so palms up and then up alongside your ears. Right? And then keep rolling forward and reaching up. Now once you're here, if you can bend a little further, fine, so be it. If not, stay where you are. Make what's happening in your spine really important. The strength you get from that will be so helpful long term. The 90-degree bend in the front knee won't be. Right? Maybe look up. If you know you can touch, do it. Good. Exhale, hands down to your mat. Take yourself through a vinyasa. Those are some of the finest warrior ones I've seen. I had like a tear moment in class the other day. We'll see if I have one in here. We'll see if they can impress me like my class. Right, step your left foot forward, right heel down, and inhale, come on up into warrior one again. Okay, so start. Don't worry about the front knee bend. Get the back foot anchored, back knee straight. That little tiny bit of inner right thigh rolling back. Okay, leave your left knee facing dead ahead over your toes. Firm your outer hips, so engage your glutes without letting them rotate your legs. Engage your inner thighs. Front of your pelvis up. Okay, now square your chest off. It happens from that upper back portion of your spine that you've been working. Now arms out, palms up. Reach them on up. Now hold your attention in what's happening in your spine and see if just millimeter by millimeter your front knee will bend further. Good. And then chest up so that your chin can draw up, head can drop back a little, palms towards one another. Good. Exhale, take your hands down to your mat and go on through a vinyasa to down dog. So you just spent all that time getting the alignment to happen in chair pose, spending a long time there. Getting the alignment to happen for warrior one, spending a long time there. And then all the vinyasas in between as well. So that alignment's still just as important, but now you're going to move on your breath in some of the sun salutations. And it's tempting to go fast and to forget about the alignment and let them be this redundant thing that you do day in and day out. And then it can be kind of mindless. Instead, try to go slowly to pay attention to what you're doing and use them as a tool to notice your body today for what it is. Okay, look forward, bend your knees, step or hop your feet all the way to the front. Okay, inhale, chest wide for Ardha Uttanasana. Work your legs. Exhale, fold from your hips. Inhale, bend your knees. Find that same work in your legs, lower belly, chest up. Exhale up to standing. Bring your hands together. Right, on your breath this time, Surya B. Inhale, one breath, sit back. Exhale, long breath to fold. Use your whole breath out. Inhale, long breath, set your upper body up for what will be chaturanga. Exhale, chaturanga. Good. Inhale, upward facing dog, long breath in. Full exhale to push back into downward facing. Right foot glide it forward, back heel down. Ride your whole inhale all the way up. Good. Exhale, take your hands down. Slowly lower. Good. Inhale, press your hands, widen the top of your chest. Exhale, fold to down dog. Okay, left side, glide your foot forward. Use control, right heel down. Think about working from your legs up to your hips, belly, chest, arms. Exhale, ride your breath down, chaturanga. Good. Inhale to up dog. And exhale, fold into down dog. And then hold still and notice this down dog in this moment. So work the alignment points from hands up and over through your hips, down into your legs. And then try to put your gaze on one point. You can do it. You can choose to hold your eyes still. It's hard. And then watch your breath moving in and out. And even if you can only do it for one inhale, as soon as you notice you're not listening to your breath here, go back and start again. And then look forward at your hands. Bend your knees, step or hop your feet to the front. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, bend your knees, sit on back. And exhale, rise up to standing and join your hands together. Right, one more time, Surya Namaskar B. Inhale. Exhale, Uttanasana, fold. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, Chaturanga. Inhale to upward facing, nice short chaturanga, Jenny. Exhale, downward facing. Right foot, glide it forward, take your back heel down, and inhale to warrior one. Okay, and then follow your own breath through this vinyasa and do the left side on your own. Try to use the whole breath and link the movement to that length. Very nice, you two. And then once you get back to downward facing dog after this left side, pause there. And then walk your hands to your feet. Okay. And then slide your hands underneath of your feet. Once your hands are under, bend your knees any amount. 1, to get that to happen, and 2, to get the whole front of your torso touching your upper thighs. Relax your neck, Jenny. Widen your feet so you're not so wobbly. And then think about your block again. Even though you're relaxing your neck, recovering your breath, still work from your legs, that lift of your lower belly so you're supported even here, especially if you tend to be bendy. Add that. If you're not quite bendy in your hamstrings yet, you will be one day if you keep this up. Finding stability now and knowing how to work with it will be important long term. I didn't know that going in, and I wish I had of. All right. Now inhale, pull your chest forward, look forward, and exhale, walk yourself all the way out to downward facing dog. Okay. Now look forward and hop all the way through to lying down on your back and grab both of your blocks. Once you lie down, you'll need them. Okay. So this is one of my very favorite new core things that I've discovered on my own. We've been talking about lower belly so far, and you may have been able to find it, you may not have, but now you're really going to know where it is, and it's going to make a difference in the next few standing poses we're going to do. So with your knees bent and feet on the floor like you were doing bridge, you're going to lift your hips up and put one of the blocks the wide way on the shortest setting under the back of your pelvis. Okay. And then you'll take the other block and put it between your inner upper thighs like we've been doing. Okay. And I know it's tempting to create a back bend here, but we're not looking for a back bend. So wiggle the tops of your shoulders underneath you just enough so that your chest feels wide, like you were standing at the front of your mat, and then grab hold of your mat with your hands. Okay, and it's important that this not be in your lower back, so if it is, come out of it. Squeeze into your block. Okay, find that inner thigh, outer hip work, and then a little scoop of your lower belly. Your legs are at the angle I want them to be at, so just straighten your right knee out without lifting your thigh bone any higher. flex your ankle and look at your heel. Make sure it's right behind your second toe. You'll know if you're doing the proper hip and inner thigh work if that's happening. And now straighten your other leg to the height so that they're both like 45-degree angle. Okay, if you can't feel your lower belly now, you're never going to, and I'm sure you can. Right, so take a breath in. Janice, your legs are a little too high. She just moaned so bad. Right, take a breath in. Exhale, lower your legs 2 inches. Just 2. Inhale, bring them 1 inch up. Exhale, lower them 1. Inhale, bring them back up. Keep hugging into your block. Keep going with that. Exhale down, inhale up. Make sure you're working from your hips and your legs and your lower belly. Find a softness in the tops of your shoulders and in your breath, even though it's really hard. Oh, Janice is shaking. I can see it. She's moaning. You sound like that girl on Episodes. Do one more. And then bend your knees and put your feet back on the floor. Okay, you can get rid of both of your blocks. So that hip and lower belly work is what you're going to look for coming up. It's what you've been looking for, but now you definitely know where it is. So rock up and over and take a vinyasa back through to down dog. Good. All right, look up at your hands. Hop to the front of your mat, step to the front of your mat. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold all the way down. Inhale, come all the way up to standing, reach your arms overhead. And then exhale, hands to your heart. All right, grab one of your blocks, and you're going to set at the tallest height to your outer right ankle. Okay. And then step your left leg back about a leg's distance, 3 feet or so, and line up heel to heel. Okay. Bring your hands to your hips. Okay. And then once you're here, push your knees straight and both of your feet down evenly. Your front foot, keep a little extra weight in the front of your foot as you straighten your knee. Right, now, square your hips, square your chest off, and then imagine the block was there. Hug into it, just like you were just doing on your back. Find that little lower belly, chest wide. That's the shape you're going to hold, so take a breath in. Exhale, hinge and fold halfway down, and as you fold, send the weight into your back foot, the front of your front foot, chest wide. Once you're halfway down, make sure your legs are still doing that work. Now put your left hand down on the block. If it's difficult to maintain the alignment with your hand on the outside, bring your hand underneath your shoulder, the block underneath your shoulder. Good. Now hold this. Outer hips, inner thighs, that little pulling in of just the lower part of your belly. Move your attention to your upper back. Twist only from there and start to turn your chest open to the right. Good. Reach your right arm up. A little more firm in. There you go. Good. Find your back leg. Push back through your foot. Stretch the bottom part of your rib cage up towards your chin. Now you know you're in the shape. This is already where you're going, but you're just going to need more hip and belly work as you transition. So look down with just your head. Bend your right knee. Move your block forward underneath your left shoulder and lift your left leg up to the height of your hip. As it rises, flex your left ankle, little inner thigh up, and then push back through your back heel like that leg was still standing on the floor. Then find your inner thighs, outer hips, and that same belly work you were just doing on your back. Hold all of that, move the work to your upper back, and start to twist from there. Come on, Janice, give me a little more through this back foot. Push, 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 push. There we go. Nice. They're making me tear up a little bit. They did it. And then look down, bring your right hand down, left foot, bring it down to meet your right. Feet together, hands to your hips, and inhale, come on up to standing. Okay, second side, and that's the last standing pose. So take your block. If you know now you used it on the inside edge of your foot, put it to the inside edge of your left foot, and step your right leg back. Okay. So heel to heel, square off, knees straight. And then it's important to set up your alignment as much as you can from standing and as much as you can as you transition into the pose, so that once you're in, you really don't have to think about alignment. You can worry about deepening the pose. Well, not worrying, but starting to deepen it. Okay, so outer hips, inner thighs, get that even sense in your spine. Inhale, exhale, fold halfway down. Okay, once you're halfway, recheck the work in your legs. Put your right hand down. Send the crease of your hips back, pull your chest forward. Now start to twist. Reach your left arm up once you're there. Good. And you know you're coming into a position where it's hard to find your back leg. It's floating up off of the floor. So try to find the work here. Pushing your foot down, feeling your right thigh push straight back so your knee stays straight. And then firm your hips, stretch your sternum to your chin. And then look down without changing the rest of the pose. Shift forward, transfer your block, and up you go, revolved half moon. And then as soon as your right leg leaves the floor, find a little bit of that spinning inner thighs in, just so your right heel, a little more than you think, a little more. Good, is over your toes, and then firm your legs together. Find that work, that little subtle lift of your lower belly. Turn your chest open from there. Oh, you. This is Janice's nemesis pose, but it looks really good. Very nice. And then look down, float your left hand down, float your right foot down, widen your feet to hip distance, grab your elbows, and just hang yourself forward for a couple of breaths. Okay, so it's not easy work. It's really hard. And that work of your lower abdomen is hard to find. It's not a place that a lot of us spend a lot of time cultivating because we spent so much time thinking that our six-pack muscle is the one we're supposed to be looking for. It's very different, and I hope that you found that difference now. And take your hands down to the mat. Inhale to stretch your chest forward. Exhale, bring your hands to your hips. And inhale, come on up to standing. Okay, slide your feet together, and one salutation to end this until we do some back bends. Right, inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, chest wide, look up. Exhale, either step to down dog or take a full vinyasa. That was so close. You almost hit your face on that. I contemplated whether she was going to hit it or not. Right. Look forward, hop through or step through, and lie down on your back. So we did some prep that might not seem like it set you up for back bends, but it really has. Done all the work that you need in order to get into bridge and then ultimately Urdhva Dhanurasana. So we're going to kind of go there at this point. So bend your knees and put your feet hip distance apart. And then there's that kind of trick where you reach and try to touch your heels, but it totally doesn't work if you have short arms. So feel like the backs of your heels are just a little further forward than your knees. And then have your arms alongside of your body like we've been working. Right. I'm going to do it for you. Take your block, put it between your inner thighs. Those of you at home, I'm sorry, you have to move. All right. Now, once it's between your inner thighs, that same work goes here. Inner upper thighs, outer hips. Right. Push your feet down, and on an inhale, lift your hips up away from the floor. Okay, once your hips are up, this is a back bend. You're intentionally trying to arch a portion of your spine, but it's the upper part. So wiggle your shoulder heads underneath of you. You can clasp your mat if your hands don't easily come together or interlace. Once you're up, the work in your legs is the same. Squeezing into the block using both your adductors, which are your inner thighs, and your glutes, which are your external rotators. Using them in combination so your thigh bones stay in a neutral position. Aim your tailbone towards the backs of your knees. Now work into your upper back. Widen your chest. Think about your upper back right between your shoulder blades, pushing through towards your chin, and then your chin moving away from that. Good. Hungry? Jenny's stomach is growling. Right, arms apart, and lower yourself all the way down. All right, now move your block off to the side, unless you really love it, in which case you can keep it the whole time too. Janice loves hers, apparently. All right, so for those of you who are newer to Urdhva Dhanurasana, you can stay with bridge pose today. If you don't do Urdhva Dhanurasana and you're not confident it's not going to end up in your lower back, or if it is difficult to get your arms any closer than shoulder distance overhead, if chaturanga is hard to hold, those are all reasons to stay with bridge. But if those things are like, yeah, I got those covered, then bring your hands by your ears. So when your hands are by your ears, you can do bridge or you can do Urdhva. You can choose. It's up to you. Okay. Look at your arm bones, your upper arm bones. If they're kind of V'ing out to the sides, spin your fingertips out a little bit, and then hug your outer arms in until your arms are parallel with one another. And then work from your legs first. Feet press them down. Imagine the block was there. Inhale, lift just your hips up first. Okay, find that lower body work. And then on your next inhale, come up to the crown of your head. Okay, once you're on the crown of your head, look at your arms. Parallel your arm bones with one another. Leave your head down. Shift your chest back. Good. And then on your next breath in, shoulders up, start to straighten your arms. Good. Jenny's doing too much tush. She forgot about her block. Spin your heels out. Good. Imagine the blocks there. If you're like Janice, you've still got it. Aim your tailbone just towards the backs of your knees. You're not looking to send it up to the ceiling. That'll flatten your lower back, which needs to curve. Once that's happening, then move the attention to your upper back. Arch there. And then like we've worked today, spin your outer arms to the back of your mat. And then duck your chin. Try to keep your arms parallel even on the way down. Lower all the way down. Good. And then just pause for a moment. And you have one more to do. So either one bridge pose or one more Urdhva. It's up to you. Try to spend about 5 breaths in it. So if you're going to do Urdhva, set up your hands. Come in that same way, even though it's hard. Hips, crown of the head, then up you go. Don't hug in quite so tight. Heels out. Heels out. More. There. That's better. And then when you're done with the 5 breaths, duck your chin, lower down. And I know it's very tempting to hug your knees in, but instead of hugging your knees in, put your feet the distance apart of your mat and knock your knees together. And then once you're there, if it feels like you need to kind of curl your tailbone up to the ceiling and smush your back flat into the mat, you can do that. Okay. And then you can close your eyes. You can keep them open if you like that better. But slow your breath down and start to let yourself relax a bit more. And as you do that, there's this voice in my head, I have lots of them, in a good way, that says, oh, remember all those things inside your head that you were thinking about before class started? You can start thinking about them again. And if I'm not smart about it, I will. And so instead of letting my mind tell me I have to do that, I find my breath and I watch it happen as it moves in and out. And when I forget that I'm breathing and I think all the other things are important, I just remind myself, oh yeah, breathing, that's the important part. Hug your knees in, give them a little squeeze. And then as your back feels ready, you can hug them in tighter and tighter and tighter. And go softly from one direction to the other. And then from here, drop your knees off to the left. If you like, do that little hip shift, you can. And then reach your right arm out to the side. And then again, go back. Inhale, exhale. Know that they're happening. It's one of my favorite meditation instructions. It's actually Buddha's instructions. Know that the breath is happening as it moves in. Know it's happening as it moves out. It was a very miraculous revelation once I realized that. It's the small things in my world. And now inhale, bring your knees up, and exhale them to the other side. Down. And then have a little bit of softness and compassion for yourself. The work that you did in this sequence was really hard. It's hard to go slowly. It's hard to work some of those muscles. They tend not to be things that we think about a lot. But doing that really hard work is so worth it. It's just like anything in life that's worth doing. It's hard, but at the end it'll be very rewarding. And then inhale, bring your knees back up. Hug them in, and then rock yourself up to seated and stretch your legs out in front of you. Okay, so one final neutral before we do a little thread the needle to stretch all that out. So stretch your legs out in front of you. And you can either have them together or you can have them hip distance apart. I want you to imagine the block was between your legs here. It's hard to have it there. Okay, heels under your toes. Engage your inner thighs, your outer hips. Sit up tall on your sit bones. And then inhale, reach your arms up alongside your ears. Okay, once they're up, take a breath in. Exhale, start to fold. Think Belly would hit your upper inner thighs first. Then if you can go a little further without rounding your upper back, do. Grab whatever is in front of you that keeps your spine long, especially the upper part. The lower part will have a little round in it eventually. The upper part, you want to work that effort in your upper back that creates up dog or creates bridge pose. Okay, and then find some softness again. You can relax your neck without it actually affecting your upper back. You can close your eyes. And then you can know that your breath is happening again. And inhale, sit yourself up. And exhale, lie down on your back. And once you're down on your back, bend your knees, put your feet on the floor again. And we're going to do thread the needle. So cross your right ankle over your left thigh, flex your right ankle, and grab the back of your left leg. Okay, so it's just stretching out the two things you're working. This stretches your glute muscle. It stretches your adductors. You can let your belly be pretty slack here and close your eyes again. I know it's very easy to fidget in these last poses. If it's something that it feels like it's injurious, your back hurts, your knee hurts, move around, come out of it, find an alternative. If it doesn't hurt in the way that's injurious, it's just uncomfortable, even if it's just discomfort in your mind from holding still, work your way around that by following your breath. And then come on out of this side and take the other side. And then let go of this leg and hug both your knees into your chest. And then stretch yourself out into Shavasana. Let your legs flop open, your arms, widen them, turn your palms up. And then you can let go of all of the effort in all of the muscles of your body, except for there's one muscle, your diaphragm, that has to keep working to keep you breathing. But beyond that, your body can relax. But that doesn't mean that there's not a little bit of work here. And the work that's going to happen is in your mind, in trying to pay attention to one thing now. And the one thing is your breath. And you might still control it. And some days, even after years of trying to meditate, you'll still control your breath at times. Try not to as best you can, in favor of simply watching it happen in and out. And when the stories in your mind trick you and you think they're actually happening and worthy of your attention right now, say, no thanks, not doing it. Gonna watch my breath, gonna relax. Shavasana. Keep yourself still and just watch a couple of breaths move in and out a little more deeply. And then when you feel ready, you can rock yourself up or roll yourself off to your right and then come up to a cross-legged seat at the front of your mat or kneeling. once you get into your final shape, sit up tall again and join your hands together in front of your heart. And take one final inhale, lift your chest up, and then exhale, bow your head down. And lift